Hey everyone, back again. Welcome back to another video review. This time everyone, we are going to be reviewing, well, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be reviewing the KaneFan701's Thomas special this year, Horror on the Kirk Ronan branch. Wow. I must say, this is a great sequel to Untold Story, Timothy. It's just awesome. Just phenomenal. Absolute masterpiece. Anyhow, so basically what goes on in this special, well, it starts off with Gordon and Henry. They're double hitting a train, but Gordon bursts the safety valve. Nice little reference to season 1 of the TV series. And then a boat goes to take the train. It turns out that Henry's driver used to work on the Kirk Ronan branch, as Henry discovers that the abandoned line when Gordon breaks down. And we find out that Timothy, yes, Timothy, the ghost train, used to work there when he was alive, and same with all the other engines that worked beforehand. So Starpat basically says, let's restore the line, so they do. And there is a couple of Easter eggs in this special. I'll explain as we go along. And basically what happens is they're nearing completion. James, at one point, he encounters Timothy's ghost, and he gets scared, so he runs away. But then the next night, however, Thomas and Rosie are rotating duties because basically Emily's going to take the flying kipper because Henry's busy elsewhere. And then what happens is Thomas comes face to face with Timothy, but he also comes face to face with the old controller. Yes, the old controller, voiced by none other than Thomas 1, Edward 2, Henry 3. If you remember, I reviewed his NWR Origin specials last year. He does the old controller in this one. And basically, basically Timothy and the old controller, they just have a verbal joust. They just verbally fight. Basically, Timothy explains his side of the story, saying the engines weren't treated properly. And it's true, the old controller did not treat the engines properly. The old controller was basically like, look, I used to live here, I used to run this line, and all that stuff. And of course, was one of the unfortunate casualties in Timothy's demise, shall we say. I don't want to say the obvious S word, but anyhow. But then Timothy's rage builds up to the point, and and this is where I'll ask my questions at the end. But basically, the old controller tries to fight back, but Timothy screams at the old controller, and old controller disappears. He spares Thomas though, but says, "Look, if you get to run this line, I'm coming for you," basically. And then Timothy just disappears. But pretty much at the end, the branch line's restored. Thomas actually, he's delivering some empty vans for the flying kipper, but he senses Timothy's presence. He's like, look, I know some of your demons have left, but please, rest in peace now. But then Timothy appears at the end. It's like, he says, it's too late. I can't find peace. And then that's the end of the special. All in all, it was an excellent special. Obviously up for another Oscar if it were to happen, but I'm sure it will. Obviously KaneFan701 and Thomas Van Ferrer put a lot of hard work and effort into this one. That's the story, and we'll talk about that at another date. However, back to the review itself. I'm going to say this. This was an excellent special, as I said. I like the season 1 reference. Now here's where the Easter eggs come in. At the end of the special, you see Alfie. In part 2, you see Scoop from Bob the Builder. Yes, we get to see a bit of crossover with Scoop, though we don't actually see his face, or we don't. But it's nice that we get to see a Bob the Builder reference. I like that. It's pretty cool. Obviously, some of his demons have left. But now here's a question. Here's a question. What happened to the old controller? Did he just get so scared he just took off and ran? Did he get consumed? Like, did Timothy send him to did he basically send him to hell? But anyway, here's where we're going to compare and contrast, alright? Actually, you know what? No, that's not a good time to compare and contrast. Sorry. I was basically going to say that in the in the Thomas Timothy the Evil Controller, that was basically like a separate kind of scenario. This is like a build-up, basically. But obviously in this, I mean, that was a brilliant way to just basically defeat an enemy. Just a basic scream, like a very loud, just enraged for over 100 years that Timothy has had within him, and finally he lets it out, and it's crazy. And the monologue with Thomas and Timothy was just at the end was beautiful. It's just amazing. Anything else? Now obviously Rosie didn't see the entire thing. She wasn't. I mean, she obviously played a huge factor in this, obviously. I'm curious I'd be interested to see how would Rosie react if she saw Timothy's ghost. Anyway, speaking of Timothy's ghost, I have a huge announcement to make. I officially have received permission to use Timothy's ghost whistle in my Thomas and the Fallen Prime film. Yes, it's going to be so amazing. And here's, I meant to ask this in my Ghost Train a review from a year ago. Is Timothy's whistle, like, is it from an actual LBSC E2, or is it just like an original whistle that you made? Like, I'm just asking. But it's an excellent whistle, no doubt. It's like, as I said in my live stream, it's like that whistle that sends like a warning to others, you know? But it was a great special. Obviously, this was 4 parts that KaneFan701 did, because last year the Untold Story of Timothy was a 9-part film, or no, it was 8. Anyway, but obviously this is not that. Oh no. KaneFan701 is planning to, based on his fanfic and DeviantArt, is going to create Clinchfield Curse. And basically it revolves around an American locomotive, engine 311, had a similar fate, but different circumstances. I'm not going to explain the entire thing at the time of this recording, but wow. From what I read from the fanfic on Clinchfield Curse, it's beautiful. Just outstanding. A little dark, but I respect that. I respect that for anyone that would make a fanfic. And this movie I'm making is based off a fanfic on my DeviantArt page. For those of you who are interested in my DeviantArt page, there will be a link in the description below to my DeviantArt page. And you can also find me on my Optimus Prime 2471 wiki. Yes, I have an original wiki page I created this year. It highlights my Thomas series and other things. Other things based off my DeviantArt and all that stuff. But anyway, what else? Now, even though the old controller is gone, now, I'd be curious to see what else may have ticked Timothy off in the past. Were there other engines, other people? Was it his driver? Was it his crew? Like, he said that, Timothy basically said that they got, the old controller got drivers and firemen to basically not treat engines the right way. And the fact that Timothy was a prototype and used so much was just, like, may have played a role. What other questions? I mean, I already know that the whole Timothy, when he gets angered and all, when he gets demonic and all that stuff. And it's kind of nice that Timothy gets less demonic after the... And I say that because, as I said, some demons have moved on because the old controller's gone now. And now that Timothy has basically eliminated him from his life, he now has to focus on other things. Like, as I was saying, Timothy now has other goals, he has other scores. I'm sensing that there's going to be something huge between Timothy and Thomas as time goes on. Sorry about that. About the little jump cuttiness. I had Anyway, all in all, Horror in the Kirk Ronan branch, outstanding. I knew some of this stuff based off the fanfic was going to happen. I knew Timothy was going to lash out the old controller. I mean, now Thomas didn't really see, he didn't actually see Timothy's, his confrontation and his face. And by the way, that face was, when he screamed at the old controller, outstanding. Absolutely, like, that's just like that's the I had enough of you, go away kind of face. Like, basically, Timothy to the old controller. And I say that because Thomas had his eyes closed the entire duration of the... Now, what would have happened if he had his eyes open? Would he have been scarred for life? Would he have been gone too? Now, here's an interesting question. What other powers does Timothy have other than just screaming? Does he have telekinesis? Like Megatronus? Does he... I mean, I'm not saying he's... I mean, yes, he's a ghost, but ghosts do have their own powers, too. I mean, screaming's obviously one of them, which is great. That screaming that makes other ghosts disappear. But I mean, and of course, Timothy can appear anywhere he feels like. I mean, heck, even if he can appear, I don't know, let's say he appears on top of Tidmouth sheds. Anyway, what else? I think that's really it then. So, all in all, guys, Horror in the Kirk Ronan branch, flawless, outstanding, deserves an Oscar. And by the way, for those of you who are wondering, KaneFan701 does Timothy's demon voice, but Devon Hassan does his innocent voice, and it was well done. So yeah. Oh, and another thing, Thomas Fan Forever is the narrator in this. KaneFan701 was the narrator in the last special, so I like that they're working together. They just, you know, it's just great. That's what I like. That's teamwork, and that's sacrifice and dedication to the community. So yeah, it's an outstanding film. Horror on the Kirk Ronan branch, excellent, and I'm really looking forward to Clinchfield Curse. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, guys, check it out. I'll put a link to KaneFan's channel in the description, and also, what else? Yeah, so there'll be a link to my DeviantArt page, KaneFan701's YouTube page, and my Wiki page if you're interested and wondering about my series and all that stuff. So yeah, that is my video review of Horror on the Kirk Ronan branch from KaneFan701. I will see you all very soon. I will be back as soon as possible with my next video, and yeah, so take care, see you soon, have a great day, and I will catch you all later. Bon voyage! Bye-bye.